months and 4. So, Tom, Grace, what can you tell us about the next release and the Bibas family to start with?
Yes. Well, as you say, it is very rare, in fact, almost unheard of, for a baby to be kidnapped like this for political reasons, with his young brother, 4. So that was one shocking thing. Another shocking thing, of course, as you mentioned, the bright red hair means they're very recognizable. And Hamas themselves filmed the hostage taking. So we've all seen them staggering out of their home on the kibbutz early on a Saturday morning and being loaded onto the back of motorcycles and driven off into Gaza 483 days ago. Now, what's particularly harrowing is tomorrow they're going to release the father, Yarden, aged 35, but not his wife or his 2 young children. So there are rumors that they have been killed, Shiri, the wife, and the 2 young children. And in fact, looking back, there was another young girl who J.K. Rowling had tweeted about, who was a Harry Potter fan, who was a special needs child, and Hamas didn't want to have the bother of looking after a special needs child. She was called Noya. And even after J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter author, had tweeted for her release, Noya, the young girl, was shot by Hamas and her body was dumped. So there is the possibility that the young baby, Kvia, and her brother, who was 4, Ariel, who would now be 5, Hamas might have killed them because they might have not been able to silence them and they would have given away the position that they were being held in together with other hostages. That is the fear, that only the father is being released tomorrow. And so far in this ceasefire, Hamas, under the agreement, released female or very elderly hostages first. So tomorrow we have 3 male hostages being released. So there is, obviously happiness that Yarden, the father's being released, but real trepidation that this poor little family are nowhere to be seen, and we may never find out what happened to them.
Yeah. And will there ever be a clear answer, or do you think that Hamas will just simply, if the Bibas family of the mother and the 2 tiny children are dead, they will presumably say they were killed in an Israeli airstrike and they will take no responsibility? Didn't they at one point tell Yarden that they had all died? And just review that point.
Yeah. Well, they have said a lot of things that turned out not to be true. For example, you mentioned Emily Damari, the British-Israeli hostage released last week. They also announced some months ago that she had been killed in an Israeli airstrike, and obviously she had not. And on several occasions for other hostages, they've claimed they're dead and they turned out to be alive. This is all part of psychological warfare. So even if Hamas claim that the children and the wife of Yarden Bibas have been killed, whether by Israel or by anybody else, we won't know if that's the truth. Hamas are not reliable, and Israel will want proof. They'll want bodies, and DNA tests and so on. But I fear we may never see such bodies, and Hamas, it's a kind of psychological game, may toy with the Israeli and global population about these children. I should also mention that today it was revealed that, this is only the first stage of a 3-part ceasefire, and Hamas have announced they will not release all the living hostages, even in the 3rd stage, because it's a kind of insurance guarantee for them that, Israel will not try and overthrow Hamas. So we're in a kind of catch-22 where Israel and indeed much of the Middle East, including many Palestinians, would love Hamas to be gone from power. But at the same time, Hamas will keep some living hostages as an insurance, and they may never admit where they are. They'll say they've lost them, they found them, whatever. So it's a horrendous situation, really.
If it does become clear one way or another, and it doesn't sound likely that it will, that the Bibas family, mother and 2 children, are dead, do you think that will alter the course of the peace deal? Will that change how Israel would decide to continue holding up its side of the bargain?
No, I don't think so, because in the first part of this 6-week ceasefire, Hamas has agreed to release 33 hostages, 8 of which it's already killed or may have died of disease.
So this is 33 alive or dead?
No, 33. We now know that 8 of them are dead. Because as part of the ceasefire agreement, Hamas had to provide a number after a certain number of days into the ceasefire, and they have said 8 of these 33 are dead. So far, the hostages who have been released have been the living ones, but of course, the families would like the bodies of their dead relatives back to give them a decent burial. So it is possible that the Bibas kids and the mother are one of these 8. In answer to your question, I don't think it will curtail the ceasefire. In fact, I think obviously people want them back alive, but I think it would be better to have some knowledge about what happened to them and to be able to give this poor little baby who didn't even see his first birthday a burial rather than toy possibly forever, knowing is he alive? I mean, some people also said that the kids may have been placed with a Palestinian family and they already can't remember who their parents are. I mean, it's been almost 500 days, and they were tiny when they were kidnapped. So I don't think it will derail the ceasefire.
Okay.
No. I think if they don't release all the hostages at the end of the day, not only Israel, but also some of them are American citizens, I think Donald Trump, among others, will not